Welcome back to the Nikki Clarke Radio Show, and on the line is an incredible man. He is a real estate salesman, and he's got some great information for us today. Would you please welcome Kenneth Toppin to the show? Kenneth Toppin, how you doing today?
Good. How you doing?
I'm very well, very well. I'm so glad that you have some time with us. I'm really interested in getting to know about some information about real estate. So how about you tell us a little bit about your background and how you got into real estate?
Okay. Well, I started doing real estate about 7 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
It was something that I always, you always see it on TV, especially Donald Trump doing this thing, and you always hear about the success and the line of opportunities in it. So I was working a full-time job, and then as time got on, I started looking more into real estate and looking more into investing. It was something that I thought that I would give a shot.
Okay. So this is something that you've always wanted to do?
You know what's interesting, right? It's when I first started off, in university, even before university, I was actually going to be looking more into law. However, as I just started looking more into real estate and just looking at all the, vast amount of opportunities that you have to just different things from flipping to buying, renting out, to selling, to working with buyers, it was something that kind of transitioned into me after I graduated from university.
Okay. All right. So what kind of services do you offer, and who are the type of clients that are attracted to you?
Okay. You know what? So in real estate, you can do various things, right? So you can work with, lease clients. You can work with lease clients are individuals that are looking to lease out, say, condos or apartments or houses across the GTA. You can sometimes work with a lot of buyers, so people that come to you and say, I'm looking to purchase a home. I tend to focus a lot on with regards to listings. So people that come and say, hey, by the way, Kenneth, I'm living in a townhouse right now. It's growing a little bit too small for my family size, so we're looking to upgrade. So a lot of the times right now I work with listings. However, the other half of my business, I would say, is also working with buyers. So individuals that are even first-time buyers that come and say, you know what, I've saved down my down payment of $30,000, and now I'm looking to make my first purchase. So I typically work with first-time home buyers or second-time home buyers and listings and people that want to sell their properties.
Okay, wonderful. Well, what are some of the things that you'd like to change about real estate from your experience? Is there anything that you think could be so much more of an enhancement if there was a change maybe in legislation or just the way things are done as a procedure?
You know what would I actually change? It's a tough one because there's so many things, right? But I mean, one thing primarily that I would like to kind of change and adapt is this whole notion that it's more of a mindset, right? Where individuals are looking to put down, you always hear 20% down for a property, for example, right? So that's what legislation, but it's more of a mindset I find. I have a lot of clients that come in and say, hey, by the way, I heard that you should be putting down, 20% down. And the reality is 20% down 10, 15 years ago when properties are worth half the price. When properties were around $250 for, a townhouse, maybe it may have been a little bit more realistic. But nowadays, I think the mindset should be, what can you afford on a monthly basis on your mortgage? And by putting down even, say, 5%, can you obtain that? And I find that a lot of people are in situations now where they're sustaining to rent out a unit. They have a down payment they can put down, but they're renting it out. Whereas renting it as opposed to buying it, putting down 5%. So I'm more of the philosophy now where people's mindset should be, it was great to put down a lump sum of cash back in the day, but as of right now, that saved $20,000, $30,000 to get you into your property now.
Mhm. Okay. Can you talk about a client you have served who was definitely transformed by your service?
Definitely transformed. Yeah. So you know what? I had a couple. It was last year. And I got a hold of them through just simple door knocking. And they're an older couple. Their family moved out, kids moved out, sorry, and they're living in their property. Now, this is an individual that they had no idea what their actual property was worth. So they bought it for around $200,000, and I went and told them, hey, listen, are you aware that homes in your area right now are going for around $550? And then they were like, and they were shocked, and they told me there was absolutely no way you can get me $550 for my property. And I said, well, you know what?
They just created that limitation for themselves. Wow.
Yeah, it's over the limit. I mean, you don't always know it unless you're in tune with the internet, in tune with online and what's going on. So if let's say you're an elderly couple, let's say you're in your maybe later 60s, maybe even early 70s, and you're not as tech savvy, and you're not as involved maybe in the community, you may not know what homes are going for in your area. And if there are not a lot of home sales in your area, right, you may have no idea. So here we have a couple now who and because their mortgage is almost paid off now. I mean, they're literally sitting on $400,000 living in this big house. So I told them, you know what? Why don't we sell this thing to get you a smaller house, say a town a little bit more maybe further out of the city where they would be happy, and then you can maybe just have the grand sitting in your account and start doing some of the things that you always wanted to do, let's say traveling. So we ended up actually selling the property for $600, so $50,000 more than what they actually thought, and they sat back like, oh my goodness, you know what I mean? So a lot of times people are even right now, a lot of people have these properties, and it's great to say, you know, it's worth X amount and you owe X amount, but if you're not doing anything with that money, then then are you really benefiting from it? You know what I mean? And what another part that I transformed them into doing, and I got them into the rental game. I said, you know what? Imagine if you can duplicate you making this $300,000. Well, Ken, what do you mean? I'm like, okay, well, how about we take some of that profit you're going to make with $300 and sprinkle maybe $40,000 over into a rental investment property. So we did that for them as well. And today, that same property now is worth about $50,000 more. So it's one of those things now where I brought them into the world of real estate, in the world where you always have to understand what your property is worth. Always need to understand, what you owe on it, so you know what you're working with, and don't limit yourself to investing. And now they're in a situation where they're in their house. They traveled about 4 times in the last year, going different places. On top of that, they have an investment property for their grandkids. So when I talk to them now, they're definitely changed. They're thankful that they're in a better situation and a more of a logical house for their situation. But more importantly, they have something that they can leave behind for their grandkids as well.
Fantastic. Do you have any children, Kenneth?
No, I do not.
No, you do not. Yeah, you say that so quickly. Okay, are you thinking about having children in the future?
I definitely am. I definitely want about
okay.
God willing. I'm gonna. It's in my horizons next year.
Okay. What would you like, say your children and other children in your midst to know about real estate? How would you encourage children to be knowledgeable about, say, getting their finances together, their credit, ready to buy a home?
What I would say, number one, and I love when you said credit there. One of the biggest things that I see, especially around young adults when I meet up with them at my office, is credit. And credit is one of those things that I would definitely tell my children you have to protect with your life, because in this world that we live in today, if you are not trusted to be lent money, there's not money. You can't really go too far, because you have to be able to be trusted. And credit is one of those things where you have to protect. So a lot of my friends kind of growing up that I know several people that really damaged their credit by living outside of their means. So what I would tell my children is, and even people listening today, do not live outside of your means. Right? A credit card should not be used to obtain things that you shouldn't be, buying. It should be, you have to be very careful, because your credit score, it needs to be at least above, like minimum 610 to work with, like some of the major banks, right? So protect your credit. Secondly, the whole notion of live within your means is important. I mean, imagine if my child saved, if I gave them allowance and they saved, $50 a month, or even they had a part-time job at McDonald's and they were able to save a portion of money every single month until they were, say, 20, you'd be able to have a down payment. So it's really so it's really important that you don't mainly just overspend and live within your means.
Okay.
And when it comes down to now real estate, go on.
No, I was just going to say that's valuable information. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then for real estate now, it's one of those, and I learned along the way, you have to love it, and that's why when I get asked the question of, would you advise people to get into real estate, the reality is that 70% of realtors quit within their first year, and that's an astonishing number. If you think about it, 7 out of 10 people say I want to get into this field, but then after they drop out after. And the reality is that and anything you do in life, you have to love it. So I'll tell my children, what do you love? I do real estate because I love consulting. I love being able to simplify a situation. I love to be able to tell a customer that buying a house is like buying a chocolate bar. That's one thing that the first time I meet most of my clients, they'll all confirm this. I always say, listen, don't be afraid. This is like buying a chocolate bar, and they always laugh, and I'm like, and they always say it's a very expensive chocolate bar, right? But I say, you know what? There are a lot of steps. This is a very big purchase, but I've been through every single one, and I'm going to guide you along the way. And the end result of my clients being able to say, you know what, Ken, thank you so much for just laughing along the way. Like, I get fulfillment from that. So I'll tell my kids also, do what you love. If you just do it for the money, you're not going to work very hard at it. You're not going to be willing to go and pound doors and put in the long hours because you don't love it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Wonderful. I am really grateful that you took the time to chat with us today. I'm sure some people, everyone listening is going to benefit from this great information. And if there are questions that we didn't address today, I'm sure people would love to get in contact with you to know more. So what are your contact information, your website, your phone number, whatever you'd like to share?
Yeah, you know what? So I like to be very direct and personal. So my direct cell phone number is 416-894-6034. That's the best way to contact me, or my office number is 416-298-6000. I can also be reached on Facebook through Kenneth Toppin, and also I have a Facebook fan page called The Six Realtor. The Six is spelled and 6 I and X Realtor. So those are the multiple ways to get a hold of me. And on Facebook, I'm always talking about these situations and scenarios, so feel free to add me to Facebook. But again, my direct number is 416-894-6034.
Okay. Fantastic. Kenneth Toppin on the line, and he has some incredible information to share with you about real estate, financial planning, how to properly use credit. I want to, again, thank you for this time. You've been listening to the Nikki Clarke Radio Show on wearehotline.net, and we want to wish all our listeners the best out there. And Kenneth, thank you again for dropping by and chatting with us. So you have a wonderful, wonderful day. Thanks a lot.
You too. Okay. Bye, Nikki.
Thank you. Bye-bye now.